Today, we're doing another deep dive video, this time into Andy Ditch. I really don't like Andy Ditch. He is a horrible person, and I will go more into it as we go through the PowerPoint presentation. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and let's get into this. Andy Ditch, a deep dive into the mind of a narcissistic faker. I just want to get this out of the way. This is not going to be a lore video. It's going to be my thoughts and opinions. I want to make the point known before we even go farther. Andy does not have autism. He comes after anybody who makes videos about him and types out long, exaggerated posts on creators' videos about how bad his autism is. He doesn't have a diagnosis for it. All the doctors adamantly tell him, you do not have it. The healthcare workers tell him. He just doesn't listen. And the reason why he wants this autism diagnosis so bad is because he wants to be taken care of. This Andy Ditch is a huge man-child. He likes to poop his diapers, which we'll get into, and he likes to be a burden on resources that could go to help people that actually need mental health services. I am going to give at least some background so you guys know why Andy Ditch is the way he is. You know, just in case you don't know who this Poopsquatch is. Andy Ditch is a full-grown man that fakes autism and tries to take advantage of mental health services. He lived in Tonawanda, New York, but due to warrants, he is not allowed back there. He records everything to make himself look better, even though most of it is just harassing everyone. Andy claims that he can't remember anything, but he can recite law regarding autism or law referring to disabilities. Andy also likes talking about pooping his diaper and gives diaper reviews. Andy's favorite sentences are, "You're abusing me, I'm calling the police, I'm going to sue, I'm pooping myself." Andy's dad was his legal guardian, but due to medical findings that the health services of Tonawanda conducted, he doesn't need his dad as a guardian. If you want any more information on Andy or his lore, there are plenty of YouTube videos out there that go over Andy Ditch and why this all happened. Andy's quote-unquote diagnosis. One of the most important things to Andy is getting taken care of. This being changing his diapers, giving him his medicine. He believes that people should bend over backwards, treat him like a baby, and make him feel, well, not feel, but give him attention. Andy just wants attention. This quote-unquote autism diagnosis is one of the ways that Andy can be taken care of. And with his family, because I have a section on his family, we will see that his parents, his brother and father, are just done with Andy's BS. They do not want anything to do with him as of this point in Andy Ditch's lore. He's burned those bridges. Andy does claim that he did have an autism diagnosis when he was a child, but this is a very important point. Andy hates that he can't get a new autism diagnosis. Andy doesn't understand that every 2 to 4 years, you need to get reevaluated with autism. This helps the doctors understand, okay, well, were you misdiagnosed? You don't actually have autism, or hey, you actually do have autism, but we need to change your plan. We need to develop new goals. That's what I have here on the side. Time frame does change. Some people say, on this thing, 3 years. I saw another paper from the University of Miami that said 2 to 4 years. So it's in that span that you need to get reevaluated. Andy doesn't understand this, and this is why doctors have not given Andy the actual diagnosis of autism. He has probably, in my next point, Munchausen syndrome, where he fakes and pretends to have a mental illness or a debilitating active symptoms. He does not have actual autism, and he has been told this multiple times. There are recordings of nurses saying, "Hey Andy, this is so-and-so, and we have your results from the autism evaluation, and you do not have autism." Andy cannot fathom this. He cannot understand why they will not give him this, because doctors don't want to misdiagnose people. And this is what really infuriates me the most about Andy Ditch, is that he goes to these health services, he tells them, oh yeah, I have autism, they conduct a test, shows he doesn't, and he's just wasting services that could be used on someone else who really needs it. Andy claims that he cannot remember. He has problems remembering things, that's why people need to take care of him. Andy Ditch types long emails and messages to his caseworkers, to people, to prove that he has autism. And in these videos that Andy Ditch has posted himself, he is able to recognize mistakes and fix them. But he's also able to recite information from memory. He's on the phone with these people, these caseworkers, and he's able to recite legal code right off the top of his mind. And he's able to also state the facts of autism. Andy has researched autism so much that he not only just mimics the symptoms, he mimics the speech patterns, he mimics everything. That's why he talks like a baby. He's able to do all of this and recite all this information to caseworkers off the top of his head. Andy claims he can't remember anything, but he can do all of this. It's just so ridiculous. And this is why people are not taking Andy Ditch seriously. Andy's family. So we're going to start with Andy's dad. Andy's dad, Thomas, was his legal guardian, but Andy did not actually need legal guardianship claimed by the health services in New York. The problem is that people want to blame Andy's family for some of the problems, but I really don't see that. Andy wanted to be babied by his family. Andy wanted his family to wake him up, help him change his diaper. Andy is incredibly entitled and manipulated, wanted to have his parents be his legal guardian so that by law they had to care for him. So this is why I believe that Andy's family is not to be blamed as much, because Andy made sure that he had this legal guardianship put in place at one point in time, and it made the Ditch household a living hell because due to this legal guardianship, they had to take care of Andy. To follow the ramifications or the guidelines of this guardianship due to the fact that the police and the health services were one time fooled by Andy. This is why we see Andy Ditch calling health services or social services all the time. When he doesn't get his way at the household, he has an scapegoat of why they need to follow the law. The blame on Andy, because this is all Andy's problem. Andy does rage bait his family, in my opinion, into giving a reaction to him. This being the intention that he so raves, or just getting a video of the reaction to send to the police and the social services or health services. Say, oh, you see, they are abusing me, because Andy's favorite word is abuse. He loves saying that word, even though he's actually abusing everybody else around him. Joe is Andy's brother that lives at the house. Joe helped provide for the house because Andy's dad is older and Andy's mom can't really work. She's unfortunately in the hospitals for medical conditions. He's most notable for recording Andy's freakouts and playing the trumpet in Andy's face, because Andy claims, because he read on a website, that he has hearing problems because loud noises is something that is a symptom of autism, and Andy claims that loud noises hurt his ears, but Andy can go to a rock concert and listen to high rock music, be right up in the front, and that doesn't hurt his ears. Joe, out of all the family members, cares least for Andy. Now, there is actually one person that does care for Andy, and this is his aunt. She's not really a character that you will hear a lot about. She's mainly here and there. She has fell fully for Andy's bait that he has autism. She had talked to the police on multiple occasions, and the police do try to explain that Andy does not have a valid autism diagnosis, so he doesn't have autism, and she constantly makes excuses for Andy's bad behavior. One time, the police officers were at one of these facilities, and they were trying to explain to her that the police in Tonawanda told us and gave us files that he does not have autism and he's just being and acting out in bad behavior. And one officer actually said, well, why doesn't Andy come live with you so you can take care of him? And she was like, well, I can't take Andy. Andy needs special help. And the officer's like, well, why can't you give him that? The aunt's just a really weird individual. But the other person that cared for Andy was his mom, but due to her health, she's not really in the story for that long. She didn't really back Andy up. She did when she was there originally, like she would try to help him get this autism diagnosis, but because of her failing health, she was pretty much sent to an assisted living facility. I should start the section, Andy versus the police, by saying that Andy records everything. He is close to Chris Chan on being one of the most documented people. He, like I said, just records everything. Every altercation, even if it paints Andy in the wrong, which most of the time it does, he still records it. And he always posts it to his YouTube channel, which is beyond me because that's where we get all the evidence for. And then Andy says that we're all abusing him after he posts everything. Andy would weaponize the police in Tonawanda against his family until the police caught on to it. It has gotten to the point where other police stations are reaching out to the police in Tonawanda to ask about Andy and to get his file because the Tonawanda police station will tell the other police station that Andy is faking his autism and has a history of these outbursts being him running into the street, claiming that the police and the health service people are abusing him, nurses are abusing him, and it's all not true. He has been arrested in Ohio for running into traffic. They did reach out to the Tonawanda police to get all the information, and that actually is some of the newest Andy Ditch lore, is the body cams from Ohio showing that they reached out to Tonawanda police and they have the information and they briefed all their officers on Andy. My final thoughts: Andy Ditch is a faker and a leech to social services or healthcare services. He wants an autism diagnosis so he can be babied and taken care of, even though he's a fully capable grown man that can take care of himself. He has put his family into drama and conflict with the police and health services that they no longer want anything to do with Andy. The police have records on him that they share with other police precincts about his faking autism and his outbursts. As I said before, Andy is using this fake autism to be cared for and get into these living facilities where he can be babied there, and it is just a total misuse of social services, healthcare services for actual people that need it, and that's why I really hate Andy Ditch and I call him a leech. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye.